Welcome back, folks. This is your Dr. Afro on Sunday, February the 13th of 2011. And just to show you a few tidbits, this segment, I'll just call it numbers. Just call it numbers. This is an article I happened upon showing the reality. And Dr. Afro is not delusional or imagining things. In his home city, where he originally comes from, New York, just showing something here about ethnic. I wouldn't call it racial. See, people always say racial, but it's ethnic, or as race denotes species. You know, like dogs are a different race, birds are a different race, and so on and so forth. But then again, who knows what the eugenicists want people to think. So they always use the word race, and the word is not appropriate. But anyway, I would say ethnic inequality in Bloomberg schools. And the article here mentions that with a 28%, I'm summarizing it, 28% graduate rate in New York City of black males, the fact that 50% of Afro-American males in New York City are unemployed, said by John Jackson, president of the Cambridge-based Schott Foundation, SCHOTT, as in Thomas, Schott Foundation for Public Education, at the 54th annual conference of the Council of Great City Schools. Also, James Williams, superintendent of the Buffalo Public Schools, said that the public education system was not geared to educate all children, and that Afro-Americans or blacks were not in the equation. Even Eric West, president of the Kansas City, Missouri School Board, grimly noted that the unemployment rate for Afro-American men in his community is double the rate of everyone else, and that college is not seen as an option for many black youths, so on and so forth. And then with Dr. Afro being a Muslim, on top of that, you then have the added malady of Muslim and Afro-American, particularly in this climate, as you see right here, as noted in this screenshot, as I'm going to show you now. NYPD officers trained, training including an anti-Muslim horror flick. So that does not help, because the units or special units in the NYPD then have a jaundiced view, and I would call it jaundiced view of Muslims. Then, particularly those of ethnic background or Afro-American or converts or whatever, they're getting all of that from under the auspices of Senator Lieberman and under the auspices of Representative Pete King, who probably don't care for Muslims much at all anyway. But anyhow, I'm going to call this episode Math and Numbers, because there is something that I would want you to see. Now, everybody's right now gawking in Egypt about Hosni Mubarak's $70 billion, right? And if you look at this calculator, and the Egyptian people number maybe about 90 million. Let's say worst case scenario, 90 million. So let's say 70 billion, right, divided over 90 million Egyptians. You know, to see if they got all that money back tomorrow, how would it help them? They would get 777.77, or etc., since that's a higher number, 0.78, or let's say $778, or $777 for each and every Egyptian. Now, how would that help them be more productive, help their lives, aside from eating the money? I don't know. I can't say. But we would want them to actually continue to make more money, or to continue to go on further without having been taken care of from that $70 billion. So it wouldn't go very far to help the Egyptian people unless you're adding to the per capita productivity, meaning getting training out of that and being able to make their own money in a global market, which requires dollars. And they have only Egyptian pounds left over from the British system and the Chaldees, the old rulers of Egypt, Egyptian Junaid as they call it. Now, if you 10 times that, $700 billion, over 90 million Egyptians, they would only get $7,770. Now, that would go quite a way for each and every Egyptian, where they make far less than that probably per annum. Possibly, I don't know what their per capita rate is, GDP, but I think we have to develop some type of modular global economic system where countries have exclusive manufacturing capabilities and rights over certain aspects or things needed in the global economy, and that other countries do not infringe on that, and that we require, and though other countries will have the ability to make that very thing, out of respect in the international agreement, we will not make that thing, and only that country will make that thing, or a few things, when there are total maybe about 200 countries, and we consume a lot more than that all over the world, a lot more than 200 various different items for our survivors. You can look around this room and see. So they would make those things, and the people would be involved in making those things and being able to survive. For anybody who can see what I'm talking about, as opposed to having factories all over the damn place, ruining cement, concrete, land, digging up earth and sewage and all that foolishness. Let the people make it in their own communities and have QC centers, quality control centers, regionally or by neighborhood, or clusters of QC centers checking their work and let the people get paid for it. But countries having exclusive over several items or a few items, and other countries not infringing on those same items, and we depend and we rely on each other globally to make those various items and the things that we consume and that we need. This is what's needed, not just giving each one of our fellow global citizens, our fellow Egyptians, $700 and some odd, and with this global monetarist economy based on British pounds and US dollars, that money would be gone in no time. So that's what $70 billion back to the Egyptian people tomorrow would do, but it wouldn't really be a quantifier or qualifier to improve exponentially their livelihoods, to be able to continue to be productive and survive and produce for themselves and their families in the long run. So we got to do better than that. Just trying to hunt and use politics and hunt for the people, $70 billion. 70 billion, 70 billion, 70 billion, running over that number. We got to produce something for them and give them something worthwhile to be able to work with the rest of us, that we can start trusting and depending on each other instead of this cloak and dagger stuff of the old days and the gray-haired guys and the balding guys. Let them guys fade away and go into their farms or whatever, and if we need advice, we will ask them, we'll respect them and sit at their chair or sit at their table, sit at their feet, no problem. But please, people, let's get away from this. Numbers and cents. That's all it is, numbers and cents.